So I got a problem. I'm trying to decide which ecosystem I want to stick with. I currently have the Pixel 7 Pro as well as the Pixel Watch, and I have the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Watch Ultra. I'm trying to figure out which ecosystem I want to use for 2023. This is not my first rodeo with the Android/Pixel series. I've been an Android user for the past 10 years. In fact, I've had the Pixel 6 Pro for the past 1 year as well. I've tried to use it over the past 1 year as my content creation setup, but the Pixel 6 Pro was a failure in my own book. The phone was full with issues from day one, everything from overheating problem to sensor issues, right, with not being able to end phone calls. I had the phone even replaced multiple times because we couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with the phone. I even had issues with the Pixel board as well. Right now, I want to start on a clean slate. So I'm trying to decide which ecosystem, which platform will be better. First of all, what's paramount to me is productivity. I'm a network specialist by trade, so I do a lot of Cisco stuff. So I do a lot of command line, I do a lot of wireless access points programming, join a lot of team meetings and Microsoft products as well. So I need to be able to maintain that over the daytime as well as even at night time, because I'm usually on call sometimes. I also need to be able to take my content creation to the next level. Currently, or previously, I was using the Canon M6 Mark II camera, but I kind of don't like the camera anymore because I feel like, first of all, it's too cumbersome, so it requires too much setup and too much equipment right now for the amount of results I'm getting. I would love to ideally upgrade to a Sony A7S3 camera, but that camera is like $5,000 just for the body alone. And yeah, I don't have that kind of money right now to spend on a camera. So the next best thing for me is to get a phone that is decent enough. I mean, phones have come a long way. These things are very powerful now, and they can do a whole lot more. So I'm gonna harness the power of whichever phone I'm gonna choose. Right now, I also need to focus on the phone that would also be good in terms of battery life, because it's gonna be doing so much. Let's talk about the watch for a minute. When it comes to the watch, the very first time I bought a smartwatch was the LG G Watch R. So this was the very first smartwatch that LG made a couple of years ago. That was the first time I bought a smartwatch, and ever since then I've not seen any smartwatch that's worthy of upgrade. When I saw the Watch Ultra and I tried it out, I'm like, woof, this watch is actually quite nice. So that actually made me consider or get back into the watch game again, which is why I did get the Pixel watch. But if I had gotten the Pixel watch prior to this, I would have just given up on smartwatches again, because this watch is so underwhelming. So for me, the selling point is the massive 49mm display of the watch compared to the 40. I think this one is a 41mm. So that's why I'm opting for the Watch Ultra, because of that 49mm screen. So I'm able to do a lot of view my security cameras. Also in terms of fitness side as well, I use it a lot in the gym, so I'm able to do like the stopwatch, and a lot of all these other functionalities like my blood pressure monitoring system and all that kind of stuff. I'm able to. I just recently started getting into that stuff. I never used to worry about that in the past, but the watch, I'm trying to maximize. How much I pay for it. I want to get the most I can out of the watch. Now let's talk about the specs of both phones. Now these phones are both they're spec'd up, right? They both have the 48 megapixel camera, the 12 megapixel camera. They both shoot 4K at 24:25 and 60 and 30 frames per second as well. So they are evenly matched when it comes to the camera specification. But where you can see that massive difference is the software, because the Apple software, in my opinion, performs much better in nighttime than the Pixel. One of the problems I had with the Pixel 6 Pro was the fact that it performed absolutely horrible in low light conditions. So you come out and you see that the images are quite grainy, so you can see it in the footages, and it just makes those footages unusable. For me, I'll be doing a lot of my recording in the evening and at night time. I work 9 to 5, unfortunately, right now, at least until YouTube starts to pay me. But for now, I work 9 to 5, and I can only record and create content after 5. I live in Canada. It's winter right now, so we have shorter days and longer nights at the moment. So I don't have the luxury of using natural light. There's a feature here that I really wish that the iPhone had. I love the fact that you can actually pause in between your recording. So this is a particularly useful feature for anyone that does a lot of recording, where the scene is constantly changing. I'm at the gym, for example. I record a lot of fitness videos. I'm in between sets and workouts, where I only want to capture a certain portion of the workout session. I'm able to just hit my play button, record that section, run back to it, pause it, and then switch or move things around, and then move to the next thing again and play it again. So this way I'm able to save a lot of I'm basically able to reduce my editing time, especially with the fact that one of the primary purpose of the phone is going to be to record and edit all my videos as well. So if I can shave so much time off of the the recording process. Fortunately right now the iPhone app, you can't pause. So I really like to see Apple bring that to their software. But when it comes to every other aspect of the software, the iPhone or the Apple iOS 6, especially the 16 right now, supersedes or blows the Pixel or the Android software right now. It blows it away. I mean, when it comes to things like using background, eraser, I can literally just remove background by just copying that images, copying whatever I want directly from the photo without having to use any software or trying to use like brush or whatever. It just a seamless process. AirDrop is another thing that's fantastic about this thing. I also have a MacBook Pro right now, so once I find the music I feel like would work with that clip or the footage I am editing, I can just download it onto my computer and just drag it into my phone and directly into the editing app using AirDrop. Like that is that is an absolute time saver. With my Pixel right now, it's like I have to, whenever I want to do things like that, either I have to take a moment and be like, okay, how do I want to get this done? I mean, although I have my own internally cloud hosted service, so I use Nextcloud, and I have a NAS box that hosts a lot of my internal cloud storage. But still, it's kind of nice to be able to just automatically download and without having to use any extra software. But let's talk about price. When it comes to price, now this phone costs about 2,000 Canadian dollar, and this is about $1,100. This is about 1,200 Canadian dollar, and this is about 450 Canadian dollar. Right now, this is on sale. There's a $70 off this one, and then this I think has a $300 off. So which makes it significantly cheaper than the iPhone. But there's a catch. Now, remember I said I had the Pixel 6 Pro. I bought it last year. I tried to trade the phone in, and Google's only offering me $366 for a $1,200 phone that I paid less than a year ago for. So basically what that implies is that this phone has little to no value once you buy the phone. It's basically like it's rubbish when it comes to value. You can't recoup your cost back out of the phone. So which means that you want to try and save as much money up front as possible. But quite the contrary, when it comes to the iPhone, I had a completely different experience. I recently just sold my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Well, actually my wife's 11 Pro Max, which she gave me as a hand down. But yeah, I sold it 2 weeks ago for $550. When I posted it, I listed it. I had instantly 7 to 8 people interested in the phone, and they all like, hey, they want to come and buy the phone. And literally I was overwhelmed by the amount of people interested in the phone. But with the Pixel phone, I've been trying to sell it for over 7 months now. I've been trying to sell it since January of this year, and I've not had any luck in anyone interested in buying the phone. At this point, I'm just going to keep the phone as a memorabilia. The Pixel 6 Pro is going to be a reminder of the pain that I went through when it came, that change in my life with Android, where Android broke me and I flipped to Apple. When it comes to the resale value, I know that at least I'll recoup at least 50% of my my investment cost on the phone when it comes time to sell the phone at whatever point I decide to, and there will be interested parties in the phone. So that for me is also a huge selling point for the phone. As an Android user for the past 10 years, I've always been on the other side of this Apple versus Android kind of, this butt head between both sides, and I've always antagonized, and anyone that used Apple at that time, like, oh my goodness, it was just this disgust. But now being on the Apple side, I see why Apple is Apple, right? You're not just paying for the hardware, you're not paying for the iPhone itself, you're paying for that software, the ecosystem, that the platform, right? There's just something about it. It works. If you're someone that's trying to make, to be productive, you don't want to waste time, you want to get things done, the iPhone is the phone for you. But if you're someone, if you want a phone that's on budget. You want to be able to tinker around it, so you want to do a lot of messing around and customization. Basically, have an open system. Android is fantastic for you, but I would say if you're gonna get an Android, get a Samsung. Pixel is just, in my opinion, is trash. I'd say get the Samsung. Samsung is much more. It's a much better phone than the Pixel, and the Samsung One UI is more advanced and it's much more better. In my experience, I could do so much more on Samsung One UI than I could or than I can with my pure the pure Android OS on this thing. But if you're trying to just worry about saving a lot of money and you only do like social media stuff and text and call and just do basic stuff on your phone, then the Pixel will probably be ideal for you. But if you're a power user like me, I don't think the Pixel would cut it for you. You either go Samsung or you go iPhone. And for me right now, I'm gonna stick with the iPhone because, like I said, my own right now, I use Apple's HomeKit to power my entire house. I use Siri a lot, so, and it works amazingly well. The phone so far too has been reliable. I've not had any issues. The Pixel 7 Pro, I've had so much issues already with, even with just less than 3 weeks of use. I'm already having issues with the overheating problem, and the speakers is acting all weird as well. It's not just limited to products from big manufacturers, but the iPhone, it's reliable. It works all the time. When it comes to battery life as well, the Pixel 7 Pro has a terrible battery life. I don't get more than 24 hours on the iPhone, and that's understandable because I do a lot of recording, editing, and lots of emails and texting and calling. So basically, essentially everything. And then it's always constantly connected to my watch as well and headphones. And so I understand that I wouldn't get that, more than 24 hours of battery life. But this is even worse. I get way less. I have to charge it multiple times a day, and yeah, I'm disappointed in the phone. And yeah, my second try second go around at the phone, and I'm still disappointed. Hey, at the end of the day, you gotta choose what works best for you, right? I'm not. This is not an attack. If you have a Pixel 7 Pro and you're enjoying it, that's okay, right? It works for you. Use what works out. Do you, bro? Use whatever works for you. It's just it's awesome that we have options as consumers, right? You want to be able to have options that suit your own need. What works for you might not work for me. For me, right now, I can say authoritatively well that the Pixel series is just complete junk for me right now. But iPhone is where I'm at right now. I'm gonna keep rocking it until maybe if I move on to Samsung. But yeah, Samsung needs to come up with a completely different operating system, something different from Google at this point that doesn't rely on Google. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I'll keep you updated on how my experience with the Apple ecosystem moving forward into 2023 is. I'll keep you updated, right? And yeah, if Apple starts to mess up too, I will come out here and I will say it as well. I'll tell you if it's trash, right? I'm not loyal to any brand. I'm loyal to myself, and I don't owe any brand any loyalty. I'm spending my money, so whoever is working for me, if you're working good at that time, I'll praise you. If you're screwing up, I'll call you out as well. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me on this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.